Today we are going to be answering some of the most frequently asked questions about Kohler whole home generators. When it comes to picking the right size of generator, it comes down to what your expectations are. Now, when it comes to Kohler, these units start at 14 kilowatts and then it goes up to 20, 26. Once we're higher than 26 kilowatts, we get into the liquid cooled class of generators, which is what's behind me, which those go, as high as you want them to. But most of our customers are able to stick with the air cooled units, which is the 26 kilowatt and lower. But again, when picking the right size of generator, it all comes down to what your expectations are. So if you're just looking to power, maybe one AC unit and a handful of circuits, you could probably get by with the 14 kilowatt unit. But if you want to connect your whole house to the generator and be able to go about your normal daily routines while on generator power, then most likely you're going to need a 20 or a 26 kilowatt generator. If you have an all-electric home, the 26 kilowatt unit's going to be the one for you most likely. Or if you have multiple AC units, again, 26 kilowatt is probably what you're going to want. If you have a home with a lot of gas appliances in it, like gas water heater, gas range, gas dryer, then the 20 kilowatt would be enough for you to go about your normal routines. But again, it's a tough question to answer without being at the house and seeing exactly what is inside the home and the overall square footage. When we come out to your house, we are going to perform a load calculation in order to pick the right size of generator for your wants and needs. And then we actually use that load calculation as part of the permit process as well, to prove that we designed the system adequately to handle what you want it to do. I did make a YouTube video where I demonstrated how to perform a proper load calculation for sizing a generator. So if you're wanting to get a better idea of what size of generator is right for you, I'd recommend checking out that video. There are some cases when we're doing our load calculation where the entire connected load on paper is too much for a 26 kilowatt generator to handle. In those cases, we can install what's called automatic load management modules. Those modules give the generator control over some of the appliances in the home, so that way it can pause an appliance if you accidentally turn too much on all at once, or you can lock out a specific appliance if you don't want that appliance to be accidentally turned on and then potentially overloading your generator. Some things about Kohler is they do make one of the quietest generators on the market. If you were to take a look inside this enclosure, the sound dampening material is very high quality. When they are powering your home, they're running at about 67 decibels. So it's somewhere between a AC unit and like a push lawnmower. I typically tell homeowners, if you can hear your neighbors mowing the grass outside, then most likely you are going to be able to hear the generator from inside the home. So we try not to put the generator right on the other side of a wall as like the master bedroom. But down here in Florida, we have a lot of block homes. So with one wall between you and the generator, you will be able to hear a slight hum. But if you're a heavy sleeper like me, it's probably going to be no problem. If you have more than one wall between you and the generator, you're not going to be able to hear it. Two major pieces of equipment. You have your generator and then you have an automatic transfer switch. The transfer switch is going to get installed on the side of your home next to the electric meter, or in some cases we're allowed to put it inside the home next to your main electric panel. But that transfer switch senses if there's utility power present. If there's no utility power, it sends a signal to your generator to turn on. And then about 5 to 10 seconds later, after the generator's up to speed, the transfer switch is going to disconnect your home from the utility power and put your home on generator power. And then the generator is going to start powering your home. And as long as there's a fuel source available, it's going to continue to run until the utility power comes back. I have another video on our YouTube channel where we demonstrated how fast a Kohler generator will actually start up and start powering the home, and you can watch it in action. Also hear what the generator sounds like. So I'd really recommend go checking out that video if you want to see how the system operates. So a Kohler generator can run off of natural gas or propane. We would hook the generator up to whatever existing gas source you have. If you don't have any existing gas source, most likely your option is going to be to bury a tank somewhere in the yard. If you don't have room to bury a tank, there are above ground tank options as well. When we bury a tank, the most common size is a 500-gallon propane tank, which will give a homeowner about 9 days of backup time. The above ground tank options are 120 gallons, and we typically pair at least 2 of those together, but we've done up to 4 of those. But if you have 2, that will get you about 4 days of runtime. In a few cases, there is a potential that there's natural gas available for your neighborhood, but you don't have a natural gas meter on your home. In those cases, we can work with TECO to get a gas line ran to your home and have them set a meter just for the generator. So that is an option that will save you some money instead of having to bury a tank in the yard. I did make a calculator that will estimate how long you can run a generator on whatever size of tank you have based on the unique power usage of your home. I'd recommend checking out that calculator if you want to get an idea of how long a generator could last on a tank you already have, or what size of tank you might want to get if you do decide to get a generator. One of my favorite things about Kohler generators is there's no break-in maintenance that's required for their units. They come ready to go from the factory. Unlike some other generator brands, probably the one that you're thinking about right now, they want you to run the generator for 25 hours to break in the engine before doing the first maintenance on it. With the Kohler, there's no need to do that. It's already done. It's ready to go for that first power outage. Setting that aside, you want to service the unit once a year or every 200 hours, whichever comes first. When you sign up for a maintenance plan with us, obviously we're taking care of this for you, but we come out twice a year to service all of our units. That first visit is going to be to do a full maintenance where we're changing the oil filter, the air filter, spark plugs, testing the system, testing the battery, making sure everything's good to go. That second visit, that's where we're coming out and we're doing a visual inspection as well as a performance test and testing the battery, which is really important. A year is a long time to go. A lot of things can happen in a year, so that's why that second visit is really important, to catch some of those minor things that can prevent a generator from starting. I've seen things as silly as snakes crawling inside a transfer switch or beetles getting stuck in between contacts that would prevent a generator from working when it's supposed to. So we really believe in that second visit in order to make sure that your investment works when it's supposed to. When you're doing the proper maintenance on a unit like this, you really should be getting at least 15 years, if not 20 years out of that machine. We've been in business for 12 years now, and we have yet had to replace a unit that we've installed and that we've maintained for that entire period of time. So that goes to show that, we're getting 12 years out of these units, and we expect to get many more out of those units as well. So when it comes to reliability, just like everything else that's made by man, things happen, nothing is perfect. But when you're doing the proper maintenance on these machines, they are very reliable. Consumer Reports put it at about 98% uptime, meaning 98% of the time that you're without utility power, your generator is running and supplying you with electricity so you can keep going about your normal daily life. A generator like this will continue to run as long as you need it to. However, Kohler does recommend that you shut the unit down every 24 hours to check the oil level. As long as the oil level is good, you can start it back up and let it continue to power your home. Once you get to 200 hours, that's when you want to do a full service on the unit. So if you did have a really long power outage, or maybe you had maybe you had multiple power outages that year and you went into a power outage with already 100 hours on the machine that year, you would want to do a full oil change once you get to that 200-hour mark. But other than that, as long as you have fuel coming to this machine, it's going to continue to run. An electric permit and a gas permit are both going to be required to install a generator. Also, for a majority of our customers, HOA approval is also necessary to put one of these units in. The permitting process is one of the things that takes the most amount of time when it comes to getting one of these put in. One thing that's going to help both you and us when it comes to getting your project permitted is having a clean property survey. And if you're in a flood zone, having an elevation certificate available at the time that we come out to quote you is going to, one, help us pick a location for your generator and for your LP tank, but also help eliminate any surprises that can come up through the permitting process. So we really try to have those two things available when we're quoting you. So I would say if you don't have those now and your plans are to get a generator, I would start looking for that survey. If you don't have one, go out and get one done. That's going to go a long ways when it comes to doing the install right and getting through the permit process as fast as possible. Some of the things that the permitting is going to do is make sure that we pick the right size of generator for your home with the load calculation that we turn in. Make sure that the spot that we're placing your generator is on your property and it's not being set on any existing easement or too close to your neighbor. Same goes for the propane tank as well, picking the location of the propane tank. And then also the permitting process is going to make sure that we set your generator high enough up off the ground to keep it out of the flood zone. So any generator that's installed has to be 1 foot above base flood elevation. Again, that's why having a survey and having an elevation certificate is so important, because that's going to give us all the information that we need to provide you with an accurate quote. As far as site prep goes, we're a turnkey operation, so we take care of pretty much everything for you. The only thing that we don't take care of is any landscaping. So if there's some mature bushes or trees that have to come out because they're where your generator is going to go, we would have your landscaper remove those. Also, if there's any landscaping required after the install, like by your HOA, we would ask you to have your landscaper do that landscaping after the install is complete. If your garage has a bunch of stuff in front of the electric panels, or same thing outside the home, if you have a bunch of stuff in front of your electric meter or gas meter, those would be things that you would need to clear out of the way so that way we can do our work. This is my favorite question because there's so many reasons why someone should pick a Kohler generator, but some of my favorites, we've already talked about one of them, and that has to do with the break-in maintenance and how that's not required or not needed for a Kohler generator, where with other brands, they want you to run the unit for 25 hours after it's installed to break in the engine. The Kohler comes ready to go. Also, Kohler is the only brand of generators that allows you to run a fully loaded exercise. A fully loaded exercise is when the generator will actually power the home during the weekly test rather than just running in the background, which is what all the other guys do. The importance of that is you're testing the full system. You're testing the generator, the fuel supply, as well as the transfer switch. And by doing that, if there's something wrong with any of those things, you're going to catch it before there's a power outage. Whereas with the other guys, if you're just testing the generator, there's a lot of things that can go unnoticed throughout the year that are going to lead to that generator failing when you need it most. When you compare a Kohler generator side by side with some of the leading competitors, and you're looking at all the major components, everything on the Kohler generator is bigger, beefier, more heavy duty, like it was actually designed to last as long as possible. There's another dealer out there that did a great video actually showing these parts side by side. That video is linked in our YouTube channel. I'd really recommend checking out that video. It's very eye-opening, and it's just night and day when it comes to the engineering on these machines. The enclosures on the Kohler units, these newer designs have been out for about 5 or 6 years. I don't think I've ever seen a Kohler generator with a rusted out enclosure, but I come across them all the time with other brands of units. They have an aluminum enclosure, and it has a powder coat finish on it and a salt spray. So down here in Florida, we have salty air. These enclosures do really well with preventing rust, and they stay looking nice. So with this gray finish on them, they do stay looking nice for a really long time. Some of the other brands, 3 or 4 years later, they're already turning yellow, turning green. Not with the Kohler units. Inside the enclosure, they have a really high quality sound dampening material. Some of the other manufacturers have gone cheap on this side of things. Sometimes we come across units where the sound dampening material has fallen down and is sitting on top of the engine and will actually burn up. Very annoying, very frustrating. Don't have that problem with the Kohlers. And then we also talked about the noise. They do have one of the quietest generators on the market, 67 decibels when the generator is powering your home. And then the different exercise modes, you can run at different speeds to reduce the sound for the exercise period. And then lastly, the factory warranty on this machine. Kohler has a 5-year parts, labor, and travel warranty on the generator. Some of the other big manufacturers, they have a 5-year warranty, but it's only parts, labor, and travel for the first 2 years. After that, it's just going to be parts, but you're going to have to pay for the labor and the travel of the company to come do the repair. If you stuck with me throughout this video, thank you. If there's any other questions that you have that you want answers to, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I will get back to you. The answer to any of these questions that we've gone through is not intended to be the full picture. There's a lot of nuances, a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration when purchasing a generator and getting one installed. We do our best to make our customers as educated as possible so that way they can make the best decision for themselves and be there along the way to help them out. With that said, look forward to seeing you out there and hopefully we get to talk soon.